Hey, what's up, guys? This is Kuya Paul, and you are listening to the Love and Other Metaphors podcast here on YouTube. YouTube.com /forward/ user /Valor07. Once again, I swear I'll change it once I have enough subscribers. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You can also find me on Facebook.com /Kuya Paul Poetry, and also on Instagrams at Instagram.com /Kuya Paul Poetry. As you can see, I am once again, as always, in public. You can hear like a kid in the background, or maybe a few actually. I don't even know. I can't look. But yeah, I am actually this particular public place is the Grove in LA. In where is this? Culver City? No, it's not Culver City. West Hollywood? I'm actually not sure. Fairfax District. Let's just say Fairfax District, or around such places. I actually had to do a little bit of business in LA, but at the same, it's also my off day. That's why I decided to do a recording. It's in the late afternoon, early evening. I think we're approaching about 5 o'clock in the evening. Probably gonna get something to eat in a bit. And oh, that kid's really having a lot of fun. Ooh, and then there's a break. What's going on back there? It's like breaking. There's like a kid. Yeah, but I decided to be here today for my off day. I like being in LA, kind of chilling out, in kind of a urban environments. The Grove, at least used to be a place I hung out a lot. Usually on the weekends, usually after church, I just go over here, chill. The sister location, the Americana, is where I actually did a lot of my poetry, a lot of my writing. I don't know what it is about that kind of the urbana look and feel for me, but I actually feel a lot more creative when I'm around it. So I'm here again. I actually took the first about 30-45 minutes I was here just taking like selfie shots for my Instagram. I hope I'm not becoming one of those people, but I am looking for like different like shots that I can use that make me look more professional when I do my Instagram posts and stuff, when I'm like promoting my stuff and the podcast and the like. Going for a certain vibe and feel in terms of the branding as well too. I don't want to get too into it. I just want to make sure that I don't look like, I look more, nice whenever I post things on Instagram. I feel like Instagram, I think I talked about this before, it's very picture heavy. So I just want to make sure I have really nice pictures so that when you look at me, it's like, oh, that's nice. It's Kuya Paul and it looks nice and he's like in a tie. But yeah, like had to be in a tie today for the business I had to do in LA. So I just figured, yeah, let's just go with that. Let's just go with that theme. It's actually really cold today as well too. So later on, when you are actually hearing this podcast, you will if you're here in the SoCal area, remember kind of that cold snap that hit right after our warmth in February. That's what's going on right now. I am cold. I am layered, and it's actually interesting to me because I'm not used to being layered up so much. Because I think, as I've spoken in previous podcasts, I don't have I don't have a lot of insulation anymore. But I like wearing this jacket. I'm wearing a Merona jacket from Target. It's like a nice little like kind of, what is this, fleece, wool, and it looks nice. It looks like a little like pea coat. It's kind of cool. It makes me look very professional. I don't know. I have to do it in that accent, but I did it in that accent. But it actually does. I like it. I like it. It's moderately warm. I'm finding more and more when I wear this jacket, it's actually a little bit more for look than it is for warmth. It's warm sustainable, but not for a long time. So usually I have to wear a sweater under it, which kind of defeats the purpose of having a big jacket. But, I like wearing the sweaters that I have under it as well, too. I actually saw a sweater. You probably saw it in some of my posts from Chapman, the college. I got that at a thrift store, and I like it. It's one of my favorite sweaters right now, and I'm wearing it. In fact, I love shopping thrift stores. You get to find some really good, if not vintage, just like really good stuff. Like the bag that I'm using right now, An in-case bag normally would sell for like 80, $100 or above. I got it at a thrift store for $8. Just had to clean it up. Um, Not sure if that's what I wanted to talk about today, but I do like thrift stores. I really do like the idea of thrift shopping. I like the idea. Actually, like I like the idea of that idea of shared economy. In fact, I'm doing a little bit of shared economy now. Part of it is ride sharing with Lyft. I might have to actually do Uber as well too in the coming weeks and months, just to make it a little bit more sustainable. But I do like Lyft, and I do like that idea of shared economy of just like kind of sharing the expenses. It's like, well, if you're gonna go somewhere and I'm going somewhere, well, why don't we just share the load and save each other some money? I think thrift stores are have been the kind of the first onset of uh, the benefits of shared economy, and that's why I like thrift stores because number one, like you'll find a lot of people have also said that fashion continues to loop around. So if you wait long enough, a shirt that's really out of style will probably be in style. That loop is actually getting a lot faster. So instead of like a decade, you'll just have to wait like maybe like half a year. And a shirt, we're just like, ugh, this shirt, I don't like this shirt. Just wait a little bit. Wait half a year. Maybe in winter, it'll be nice again. Or next winter, I should say. Or summer or something like that. You know what I mean, though? Like, and I found that a lot of wardrobe that I get kind of derives from that. It's not to say that I don't buy new clothes. It's just that I just find that, you know, some people's idea of fashion makes it so that they have to remove other bits of fashion within their wardrobe, which is good for me because when it loops around and I find it in the thrift store or something else, yeah, I can benefit from it at a at a discounted price. So yeah, thrift stores. And since I'm on the subject, I do like the idea. Like shared economy has been something that I've been finding so very dear to my heart because it's helped me become um, more creative, and it's giving me more outlets of creativity, namely in my photography. A lot of in fact, I would say about 90% of my photography equipment. I'm gonna wait for the train to pass. It's actually just a dumpster thing, but it sounds really loud. Anyway, but yeah, like, like most of the photography stuff I have, about 90% of the photography stuff I got, all of it, from either yard or garage sales, or Craigslist. Um, I've I haven't purchased too many things off of actual storefronts and retail stores. The mic I'm using is an exception. The Rode mic. I actually got it. I only actually got it because I asked for a gift card for Christmas, and I used that money for this. That's the only reason I did it, is because of that. My flashes. Oh no, I was gonna say I bought this, but I didn't actually. I bought it. I bought it from someone. I have two um, Young flashes. I bought the receiver, so I can use them remotely. I bought that one at retail, off of Amazon, if you call that retail. Um, what else did I buy? Lights. I also bought retail through Amazon. Um, I can talk about Amazon another in another podcast. But my camera bodies, both my D200 and my D30. I keep forgetting if I have a 32 or 33. I believe it's a 3300. Both of those camera bodies I got online. 100% of my flashes I got online. And I mean, when I say online, I mean Craigslist. I got it through shared economy. And yeah, so like 90 to 95% of the materials that I use to be creative, I've gotten through shared economy. And yeah, the idea of shared economy, I've been talking about it a lot, is basically, like, I don't want to say second hand, but basically it sounds exactly what it is. As an economist, of course, like there's like the idea of supply and demand. So if you want something, and they're having an argument, oh my gosh, I'm gonna wait until they stop. It's not really an argument. It's just like older brother like telling the other brother to like, hey, let's go over here. Mom's calling, whatever. It's cool. I think they're good. Again, this is one of the reasons why I like doing podcasts like out in the open, because you get to see like all this other stuff. You can hear like all the different things happening. Life is happening all around us, guys. Um, okay, going back to shared economy. So the idea of shared economy is that um, both people have a certain supply and demand, and oh man, you could do a whole probably a whole economic class on shared economy and the benefits of shared economy. But when you guys share a certain supply and demand curve that benefits you more. Let's say it skews it skews your equilibrium. Oh, I'm getting way too like technical on this. Basically, like if you got a demand, yeah, the retail demand won't be will be of course at such a premium, um, as opposed to like a used demand. My my inclination of wanting to get like let's say a camera body, yeah, I do want a really nice camera body, but the like I have the demand for a certain camera body, but the supply is too great. So to be able to meet me to a certain degree, the person who is actually giving the same camera body, except at of course like a discount because it's used, because they used it a lot, because it's second or third hand, that will appeal to me more because those things have a certain marginal utility that's lesser than the retailed full valued camera body. Wow, that's even more technical. I tried to dumb it down to still more technical, but that is what I like about shared economy. It's basically like, yeah, I get to have things at a discounted price just because someone said I'm done with this. Does someone else want it? And I get to help their their supply as well too, and their demand for basically more spending money or more cash or doing another project. So I like it. I like how shared economy has really helped me be creative. I think shared economy is really beneficial. It's somewhat of kind of a community project in terms of creativity. I think as creatives, we can learn a lot about sharing each other's economic value, sharing our resources. I know it sounds very like, I feel like I'm sounding very socialist, but it's just economic nowadays. Like the camera bodies that I really want to get, they're like anywhere between like $800 to $1,500, but I can get a cheaper one, maybe not as good, but will still do the job for half that price or even less. Um, like the camera bodies that I got, one like the D200 camera body. It's just, I mean, it's just my beater camera. It's just like the camera. It's like I don't care if it breaks. That only cost me $80, and I got it because of quote unquote shared economy. Craigslist ad. Some guy basically said, "I want to do video. I don't want to do stills anymore." It's like, great, I'll take it off your hands. And that camera body has had over 200,000 actuations. Basically, it took 200,000 pictures, and it's still going strong. Um, so yeah, like it helps me, it benefits me, and it helps me become more creative in my creative process. Again, as creatives, I think nowadays, because it's so hard to stand out, that it is a little bit more cost effective to be able to share a resource. And I think I like the idea of sharing resource because that goes into collaboration. If you collaborate, both parties will become more creative. Like for me, when I bought that camera body for $80, like I was able to do more creative things because I got a camera body, I got a camera, more than one camera now, so I can do twice as much of the work. And the person that sold it to me was able to get the stuff that he needed to become more creative in video. So more projects were actually able to be done because we were able to share the load, share the burdens, and I like that. I think in terms of collaboration, I think as creatives we should consider it. What I have in terms of my talents, I can collaborate with you and we can share it and do a project, like maybe a project where you do a music video. So one person, of course, provides the music and the artistry of the music, and of course the crowds for the music. And another person provides the video, the sound, and the production value that will make a person who has a good crowd and following for the music actually appreciate a little bit more of the video context of it as well too. It makes it look more professional. The videographer, cinematographer, who did it as well too, will have something that they can share for other projects um, to vouch for their reliability and the professionalism within the project as well too, and then both can benefit. I'm not saying because this also sounds like it's like, yeah, we should collaborate more for free, and like I'm not saying for free, but I am saying it's like, when you have collaboration, there is a mutual benefit instead of just going out and trying to buy it, quote unquote, retail. Um, and when I say retail, I mean like basically full price, the hard way, the like actually get out and go find someone. Um, when you have someone that you can collaborate with, you'd be surprised if you can, if you, and I want to say this the right way, when you lower expectations and um, you compromise on some things, you might already have some people that you can already work with and still get projects done. Like me, like I, I'm not gonna buy retail. I mean, there is, and of course, there's a benefit to buying things at full price, brand new. I mean, I basically I bought a car that way, just recently. And yeah, one of the benefits of buying something brand new is like it's not gonna break for a long while as long as you're being careful about it. That being said, there are like if you can find a way where you can have more or less the best of both worlds, why not? Um, and I want to sum it up that way. I feel like I'm gonna go down like a really big pipeline of just like the ideals of shared economy and buying things used and and I feel like I did, but I don't want people to be like, yeah, but like, because I've already hear like some of my friends is like, yeah, but if you buy things new, like if you do this, if you spend the money to collaborate with like a bigger person, then that could be good as well too. But I think for me, the reason why I like things like Craigslist and doing like shared economy things like Lyft is basically you can create a community, and I'm more or less about community. I'm finding more and more, and I'll say it this way: it's not just what you know; it's also who you know. But it's not also just who you know; it's who knows you as well too. So, me getting out there and letting people know what I can offer, not only helps other people, but it helps me too. Like when people know that I'm a photographer and like I'm willing to collaborate with them with at either a discounted rate, they know that later on when they need someone, they know me first. And it's true that sometimes like they know me, but then sometimes a person that will come in with much more professional equipment will 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 always kind of get in. Not I don't want to say get in the way, but sometimes it's like, yeah, you want to invest in bigger projects. It's like, yeah, but it's not why I'm there. I'm there for the medium projects. I'm there for the economic ones, the cost-effective ones. And then later on, when my equipment gets better, when my stuff gets better, and I continue to do collaborations, um, I I can get to the point, and I can start competing. I think that that's the great part about shared economy as well too. Like you get to the point where you can enter in the medium, but you can save up for the top. I think that's more or less what I've been doing. Like when I first started, even doing photography, all I had was like two or three lenses and a camera. I didn't even have a flash. Now I have all this equipment, and I can do a lot bigger projects. So I can offer up more of my services to other people. When I started being a poet, same thing. Like I only had like maybe like one thing memorized and had to read everything. Now because more people had offered to make me a feature or do other things for me, let me be a featured artist and sometimes even paid featured artist in some of the venues. Now I have more things under my belt and I can say that I've done more things, even hosting. I can say it's like, yeah, I host regularly open mic, so I know how to host. And it's all just kind of like, well, let's share the load. Like you have something that I can provide, and I have the time to be able to provide it. Why can't we just do that? So again, that's what I like about shared economy. um, I think the lesson that we can definitely learn that I've learned in terms of shared economy is community and grace. I like the idea that um, I have been able to be more creative because I found, I don't want to say shortcuts. They're not really shortcuts. I found alternative ways to do things that normally I'd have a bigger barrier to entry to do, like photography. Um, I was able to come in at I was able to come in where most people were doing it at a premium. I was able to come in lower because other people were able to offer me equipment they weren't using at a discounted rate and stuff like that too. So it's photography. I don't think if I had to buy everything retail, I probably wouldn't be a photographer right now. If it wasn't for like things like Craigslist and discounted things like Amazon every now and then, or like that, I don't think I'd be doing photography. I don't think I'd be doing poetry as much um, if if people didn't kind of share the load and say, hey, we needed a feature, can you feature? Or they heard me and they just said, hey, we need someone, and I wasn't willing to just say, hey, yeah, like I'll just do it. If I was basically saying no, like I'm not gonna do it, you gotta pay me. I probably wouldn't be the poet that I am today if I wasn't so focused on the idea of like collaboration, community, and grace. Um, and I feel like even this, there's a lot of grace that goes into this, and I know that this podcast won't always be like this. It'll probably change and evolve and get even better. Right now, it's just audio recording, but you know what? The fact that I could do this, the fact that people are listening, I mean, it's already a blessing to me. So I'm glad that you're listening. I'm glad that you're able to listen. And in that sense, we can kind of share the load in terms of creating this community. I'm I don't have too much else to say actually in terms of this idea of creating community through shared economy, but I really do love it. I really do like the fact that I've been able to do more creative things because there were all alternative ways, and I think that's the biggest thing that I really learned. It's just like you don't have to do it. Like when I first, like for real, when I first started the creative process, like one of the biggest things that soured me on being creative was people always told me you had to do this one way or you can't do it at all. And it's true to a certain degree because people have been successful in that one way. But it's not always the one way. It's not always the only way you can do it. Like you don't have to do it just one way. I mean, someone had to think about the idea of just like, well, to get to point A and to point B, I have to either have a car or walk, and that's it. Someone had to think of like, well, you can have a bus, you can get a taxi, we can create a shared economic program called Lyft or Uber or whatever. And albeit, I'm not trying to like put all my support within like, this is not an ad. In fact, like in terms of like some of the shared economy things that have been some shady things that had gone on, that's a different podcast altogether. But someone had to think about it. Someone had to be innovative enough to say there has to be another way. There's an old saying, necessity is the mother of invention. I think a lot of what I've done in terms of my creative process, in terms of everything from my poetry, photography, writing, even this podcast has just basically said like, there's got to be a different way. And that's what I do. I try to find different ways. And I think that's the idea of shared economy that I really love. It's just like, there's another way. People have said you had to do this, you had to pay this much. I'm like, really? Like, what if I could do it for half? What if I could do it for a quarter? What if I did it for free? Like, I think that and I guess that's the business mindset in me. It's just like, no, I can be competitive. Like, you're not gonna monopolize this. There's other ways to do this. And yeah, like for the podcast, this is one of the reasons why I like doing it outside. I don't like being inside because everyone's like, oh, you have to have it like really quiet and you have to have a really good background. You have to have the lighting right. I'm like, you know what? No lighting, no picture. I'm not even gonna show you my face. I'm just gonna have audio and that's it. It's like soundproofing. Soundproofing? Nah, man. I tried it before. I even made my own DIY soundproofing and it was okay. Some of you guys that saw my podcast last year, just like, yeah, that was it. I couldn't even like talk. I felt so uncomfortable there. But here outside, like, I'm so like, I don't care. It's cool. I like it. I'm over here shivering in the cold. And all these people with like like all this ambiance. I love it, man. This sounds like LA. This sounds like my city. This sounds like me. Like like always something active, always life happening around me, and that's what I want. I don't want like this whole like really silent. Let's all sit comfortably. Let's have like this $2,000 backdrop of like a set, and like $3,000 lights and like a freaking $5,000 cam. No, man. Like all I need is my Tascam recorder, my Rode mic, and a memory card with enough space to hold to hold a 30-minute podcast. That's all I need. I am so encouraging for anyone listening, for everyone listening. Try things differently. Don't. I mean, the one thing that has always stifled my creativity is when people told me you have to do it this way. No, no. I'm gonna be the first person to say it's like that's the opposite of creativity. Creativity is finding new ways to do one thing. Creativity is finding, like doing different things to create a different result. That's what creativity is. So, like, the heck with everyone that's telling you have to do it this way or you're not getting. I don't care. I don't care about the views. If you want to be, if you want to be creative, just be creative. Forget about views. Forget about people watching. Forget about people listening. If you're listening to this right now, I just encourage, like, just do your thing. Like, try something different. Try something. I mean, I hate to say innovative, but that's the idea of being creative, being artsy, is do something different. I mean, look at me with this podcast, and I mean, more or less, I mean, I'm encouraged by more and more people listening, and I do want more and more people listening because I plan to do this for definitely the long haul. But like, honestly, it's not going to be successful even in my own, like, even to myself, unless I'm just being me. I got to be my creative self, and that means being outside with a Rode mic, with this ambient noise in the background, on the Tascam, on like wooden chair looking things in the middle of the grove. Like, this is me. This is who I am. Just wherever I am, just guerrilla this thing, and let's do this, and let's record. Let's just do something. Find your creative outlet. Find, like, and I talked about this in another podcast that you're probably gonna listen to before this one, but like, find the simple thing of who you are, and your identity. It needs to be a lot simpler if you're really gonna pursue it. Maybe you are more creative. Maybe you are meticulous. If that's your thing, then that's your thing. But you're simply meticulous. You're simply, I don't want to say perfectionist, but maybe you are. You're simply a perfectionist. Okay, fine. That's your thing. Go for it. For me, I'm simply raw, and that's what I'm going for. So do that. Do that. Do that. Take that to the bank, and just have fun with it. I mean, these podcasts, like, I get nervous a little bit whenever I start up, but then when I got this on, when I have my headphones on, when I'm just talking, I was like, this is me. I can talk all day like this. Like, I can talk until my Tascam recorder like runs out of memory. I'll talk all day. And if you guys are willing to listen to me, that's great too. Like, yeah, listen. And I'm willing to talk about everything. But I think that that's part of the point. I found what I need to do. I found it simply. I'm simply who I am, and I'm being creative. Don't, unless it's encouraging. Unless it encourages you to do something really more creative or sparks interest in you, don't listen to what people say you have to do. Once a person tells you you have to do it this way, you're not successful, question it. Even if they're right. Who cares? If you feel convicted to do it another way, do it the other way. And then if you learn your lesson, that's fine, and then change. But then you learned it. No one told you how to do it. There is, I mean, a certain process in terms of experience. That's great. And sometimes you do need to learn from other people's experiences, which is also great. But in terms of creativity, there's no problem in questioning. There's no problem in just questioning the process, because sometimes the process has been there because one person thought it creative to do it this way. But it doesn't necessarily mean everyone needs to do it that way. Yes, we can learn lessons from other people. Yes, we can learn the basics. That's fine. That's all well and good. Like, the basics for me is like, well, in terms of a podcast, I need a recorder, I need a mic. Those are the basics. And it's true. Like, if someone says like, well, if you're going to do a podcast, you at least need a recorder. I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're right. I need to record it somehow. But at the same time, I also question. I was like, I wonder if I could do it over my phone only. I met this one girl. She's actually really popular on. I wish I had her stuff. Actually, I would promote it right now. But I met her. She was doing another kind of YouTube channel, but her own testimony to her own personal YouTube channel was the fact that she did all her recordings just on her phone. She created she created a following, like in the multiples of thousands of followers on YouTube, and a successful like a successful channel with longevity just by recording off of her cell phone. That's it. And because she thought it's like, I'm gonna do a fashion blog. You need all this, you need this, you need a license. Just like, no, I just need my cell phone. I need my cell phone and YouTube streaming, and that's all she used. So debunk what everyone that says like, oh, you got to do it this way. No, you don't. Question it. Question the process. Question the motive. See what is creative to you, and let's see what happens. Going back into my initial thing, that's why I personally like shared economy, because it gives you the alternative. It gives you this idea. It's like, oh, like I just need a job. It's like, well, maybe you can have a job and then do shared economy. You can give someone else rides to work, and you can get a little bit more money out of it. So you don't have to get like 2 jobs. You could just have like a job and a half with Lyft or Uber, or Postmates, and deliver things or whatever. Like, it gives you alternatives to your life, so you can be more creative. So you can be you. And I think with the bell, which is kind of ironic because I'm about to end, I will end this podcast. Thank you for listening once again. You can find me on youtube.com/user/val07. That's where the 11 other Metaphors podcast lives. You can also find me on YouTube, on facebook.com/KuyaPaul Poetry, or instagram.com/KuyaPaul Poetry. But, mi friendos, that is my metaphor for today. Thank you for listening once again. God bless. I'll see you guys all later. Bye.